Well, the administration's decision to abstain from the UN vote condemning Israel receiving bipartisan criticism. Some Democrats, as well as Republicans, accusing President Obama of turning his back on an ally.
We joined the crowd beating up on Israel, and it's really disingenuous to say, well, we abstained. We abstained knowing full well what that abstention meant. It meant that the resolution would pass, and Israel relies on us to block all these resolutions against them because they can't get a fair shake.
Well, that was Congressman Eliot Engel earlier this morning. He's a Democrat from Maryland. Bipartisan criticism. Joining me right now, Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy. He's a member of the Trump Executive Transition Committee. Thank you for joining us. So we've seen that kind of criticism coming down. What can the U.S. Congress and what can the incoming administration now do to better repair our relationship with Israel?
Well, listen, I think it's pretty clear that both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, have been joined at the hip on this issue, that we traditionally stand with Israel. And I think it's the acts that we take in Congress with the next administration that shows, again, we support Israel and we do support peace. But, Heather, this comes back to the point of what is Obama trying to accomplish? What is the UN trying to accomplish? They're trying to get to a place of peace. And to fully focus on Israeli settlements as the impediment to peace, as Benjamin Netanyahu just mentioned, isn't the real problem. The problem is the fact that the Palestinians won't come to the negotiating table to sit down with Israel, number one. And number two, they won't recognize a Jewish state. If you can get by those two cornerstones, you can have the two sit down and talk about what do the landlines look like. Israel said, we'll negotiate that, we'll talk about that, but you can't get to that point until the Palestinians come to the table.
Yeah, as our Rich Hudson was just reporting, the Palestinians now say that if Israelis stop building, then they will come to the table and talk about peace. But not sure that that is really going to work. I'm just curious, since you're a sitting member of Congress and you're constantly talking with the new administration coming in, what specifically is Congress willing to do to help give Israel some assurances that they're going to be all right?
Well, I think public statements that have been made by Donald Trump give assurances. You've seen some affectionate tweets go back and forth between Trump and Bibi Netanyahu. And I think it's heartening for Israel to see both Republicans and Democrats coming together and standing with Israel. But back to your last point, that if the Palestinians say if Israel would just stop building settlements, we'll come to the table to negotiate. That actually happened 7 years ago. Barack Obama was able to get Israel for 10 months to stop building settlements in the hopes that the Palestinians would come to the negotiating table. So Israel stopped for 10 months, and guess what? The Palestinians didn't come to negotiate at the table. So I think if you're going to have peace, it's not going to come from the United States. It's not going to come from the UN. It's going to come from the Palestinians and the Israelis sitting down together and negotiating and talking and coming up with a resolution. But I think what Israel has to understand today is that there will be a new government on January 20th, and it's a government that supports Israel and its right to exist.
Well, I'm just wondering if going forward we're willing to do anything at the UN, such as stop any new resolutions that would be harmful to Israel, if we could make that pledge, or if Congress would make a pledge of not essentially approving or giving a thumbs up to statehood until both parties are willing to peacefully cooperate. But go right ahead, and then I want to quickly ask you about Russia.
Yeah, so quickly, we do have one of my fellow congressmen, Louis Gohmert, who's bringing up a bill that will say, listen, why are we going to pay for a quarter of the funding of the UN, $3 billion a year, when they're anti-Israel, anti-Semitic? Maybe we have to talk about removing our funding from the UN until they withdraw this resolution.
And would you support that?
I want to see the I want to see the bill first, but it's something I can support, but I want to look at it when it comes out from Louis.
Okay.